Namaskar, good evening viewers. You are watching the news on Sansad TV. I am Rajiv Kumar Singh. We'll take a look at all the latest happenings of the day from the national and the international perspective. Let us begin with the headlines. Home Minister chairs high-level meet to review security situation, development programs in Jammu and Kashmir, discusses steps taken to deal with terrorists and maintain peace. Major success for security forces in Jammu and Kashmir. 4 terrorists killed in encounter in Jammu. Large amounts of arms and ammunition seized. 39 international passengers test positive for COVID-19 in past 48 hours. RT-PCR to be made mandatory for passengers from 5 countries including China. Health Minister to take stock of preparedness at Delhi airport tomorrow. India-Australia trade agreement to come into force from tomorrow. FTA to help boost Indian exports to Australia. Bilateral commerce likely to double in 5 years. Cold conditions continue to grip Kashmir. Fresh snowfall likely in some places. North India shivers under severe cold wave. 3 Indian Americans die by drowning in a frozen lake in Arizona. Time to take a quick look at some flash news. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri launches guidelines for city finance rankings and city beauty competition. Finance rankings to evaluate, recognize and reward cities on current financial health. Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav reiterates no plan to privatize Indian Railways, rules out operationalization of trains by private players. Union Minister for Law and Justice Kiren Rijiju asserts people should include millet food in regular diet. His ministry organizes millet lunch in New Delhi today. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says it's the vision of the government to end tuberculosis in India by 2025, 5 years ahead of the Sustainable Development Goal. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will pay official visits to Cyprus and Austria from 29th of December 2022 till 3rd of January 2023. Maharashtra Legislative Assembly passes the Lokayukt bill, which brings in its ambit the Chief Minister, ministers and people's representatives. Central Drugs Standard Control Organization starts joint inspections of identified drug manufacturing units with State Drugs Control Administration to ensure high quality of medicines. Prevailing situations in those countries have impacted India-backed projects in Afghanistan and Myanmar, says MEA to parliamentary panel. The US considering imposing new COVID restrictions on Chinese arrivals after Beijing announces it would reopen its borders next month. And Pope Benedict XVI very ill, says Pope Francis, asked pilgrims at Vatican to pray for his predecessor. Benedict, 95, stood down from papacy in 2013. Over to our top story. Union Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the security situation and development issues in Jammu and Kashmir today in a separate meeting with the Home Minister. Also reviewed the development initiatives being carried out in Ladakh. In the meeting, the Home Minister reviewed the prevailing security situation in the Union territory and steps taken to deal with the Pakistan-backed terrorists and for maintenance of peace. He also discussed the developmental programs being carried out in the Union territory. The meeting was attended by Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, senior officials of the ministry, paramilitary forces, the Jammu and Kashmir administration and police. There have been sporadic incidents of violence in Jammu and Kashmir in recent months. These include attacks on innocent civilians and security personnel and infiltration bids from across the border, officials said. In a major success for the security forces ahead of Republic Day, 4 heavily armed terrorists were killed in an encounter in Jammu and Sidra area. The terrorists were traveling in a truck to Kashmir. The gunfight began around 7:30 a.m. amid dense fog near Tawi Bridge in the Sidra bypass area along the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway. The encounter went for 45 minutes. Bodies of the 4 terrorists have been recovered from the truck. The truck driver, however, escaped from the scene and efforts are on to nab him.
ट्रक की मूवमेंट जो है अनयूजुअल दिखी हमें. यूजुअली यहाँ पे ट्रक की मूवमेंट 12 बजे के बाद होती है, लेकिन ये एक ट्रक था जो यहाँ मूवमेंट कर रहा था. जो हाईवे क्यूआरटी है उसने ये अनयूजुअल मूवमेंट को स्पॉट किया और उसका पीछा किया. जब ये सीधरा नाके पे पहुँचे तो उसको रोका गया और ड्राइवर को नीचे बुलाया गया. ड्राइवर नेचर्स कॉल के बहाने नीचे गया और वहाँ से भाग खड़ा हुआ और उसके बाद ट्रक की तलाशी शुरू की गई. ट्रक के अंदर से जब तलाशी हो रही थी तो फायर आया, जिसका जवाब दिया गया. काफ़ी एम्युनिशन इन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया है सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पे जो यहाँ पे मौजूद थी, और जिससे लगता है कि काफ़ी बड़ा ग्रुप था और काफ़ी असला एम्युनिशन के साथ आया हुआ था.
And now a look at the COVID-19 situation in the country. 39 international passengers have been found positive out of the 6,000 tested on arrival in the last 2 days. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia will visit the Delhi airport tomorrow to take stock of testing and screening facilities there. The government is likely to make negative RT-PCR test report mandatory for passengers arriving from China and 5 other countries from next week. Officials have cautioned that the next 40 days will be crucial. Amid a spike in COVID-19 cases in some countries, including China and South Korea, the government has asked states and union territories to be prepared for any eventuality. The government has already made random coronavirus testing mandatory for 2% of passengers arriving in each international flight from Saturday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia held several meetings to assess the country's preparedness. Health Ministry has also directed all states to carry out genome sequencing of COVID-positive samples. Mock drills were held at health facilities across India on Tuesday to check operational readiness to deal with any spurt in COVID-19 infection. The latest spike in cases is being driven by Omicron subvariant BF.7. Delhi NCR got some respite from the bitter cold today. The Met Department said the relief is due to western disturbance and may last a few days. Delhi woke up to a thin layer of fog and a cold day today, with Palam weather station recording a minimum temperature of 7.8 degrees Celsius. Safdarjung recorded a minimum temperature of 8.4 degrees Celsius. A senior IMD official predicted that the cold conditions would improve due to western disturbance from 28th December to 31st of December. However, a fresh cold wave is likely to hit Delhi on 31st of December and 1st of January. Dense to very dense fog will continue to prevail in the belt. Rajasthan is also reeling under a cold wave, with mercury plummeting to near 0 degrees Celsius at many places. Churu recorded a minimum temperature of 0.6 degrees Celsius, while Fatehpur Sikar recorded 0.8 degrees Celsius. The night temperature at most places in the state remained below 10 degrees Celsius. In the last 24 hours in the capital Jaipur, the maximum and minimum temperature was recorded at 23.8 degree and 8.4 degrees Celsius respectively. According to the Metro Department, there is a strong possibility of dense fog once again in some parts of northwestern Rajasthan from December 29th and 30th. A further drop in the minimum temperature is also forecast from December 31st. The Congress Party celebrated its 138th Foundation Day today. On the occasion, Party President Mallikarjun Kharge unfurled the party's flag at the Congress headquarters. He said that in order to make the party inclusive, the Congress will have to connect with youth, women, weaker sections and intellectuals. He said that the Bharat Jodo Yatra led by Rahul Gandhi has rejuvenated the party workers across the country. Congress Parliamentary Party Chief Sonia Gandhi and former party President Rahul Gandhi were present along with top Congress leaders and workers.
कांग्रेस पार्टी को बने हुए आज 137 साल पूरे हुए। आजादी के बाद कांग्रेस पार्टी का सफर आधुनिक भारत की कहानी कहता है और ये इतिहास है। इन वर्षों में भारत के हर सफल माइलस्टोन पर आपको कांग्रेस की भारत लिखी रहेगी।
The India-Australia Free Trade Agreement will come into force from tomorrow. The trade pact would provide duty-free access to Indian exporters of over 6,000 broad sectors, including textiles, leather, furniture, jewelry and machinery in the Australian market. The agreement will help almost double the bilateral commerce to $45 to 50 billion in around 5 years. Under the pact, Australia is offering zero-duty access to India for about 96.4% of exports by value from the day one. This covers many products that currently attract 4 to 5% customs duty in Australia. The Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement was signed on 2nd of April. India's goods exports to Australia stood at $8.3 billion and imports from the country aggregated to $16.75 billion in 21-22. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mother, Hiraben, was admitted to a super speciality hospital in Ahmedabad due to health issues. Prime Minister Modi visited the hospital in the afternoon to meet his ailing mother. After reaching Ahmedabad, he drove to the hospital and remained there for over an hour. The PM also spoke to doctors at the hospital regarding his mother's health. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel also visited the hospital to inquire about the health of Hiraben. Hospital authorities said that her condition is stable. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress leaders Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and leaders from other political parties have wished speedy recovery to the Prime Minister's mother. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur released the official calendar of the Union government for 2023. Releasing the calendar, he said that the 12 select images in the calendar presents a glimpse into the strenuous efforts made by the government towards public welfare. He added that they also reflect the Prime Minister's belief in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. The calendar with the theme Naya Varsh, Naye Sankalp is to be made available across all government offices and Panchayati Raj institutions in the country. The calendar was an impressive collection of 12 images for each of 12 months depicting a dynamically growing India. The centre's official calendar has been published both in digital and physical format after a gap of 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And time now for a quick look at some more news from across the nation. President Draupadi Murmu today called upon the students mainly from tribal areas to serve back to the society after attaining self-reliance in their life. She said contributing to the progress of society is everyone's duty. The president today virtually inaugurated Eklavya residential schools in Asifabad and Mahbubabad districts in Telangana. Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar today interacted with officials of Rajya Sabha Secretariat, PC Modi, Secretary General Rajya Sabha, and senior officers of the Secretariat were present on the occasion. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy today called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and discussed several state issues and reiterated the release of pending funds for the Polavaram irrigation project. In the nearly 50-minute long meeting held at Prime Minister's residence at Lok Kalyan Marg, Reddy underlined that his state has spent about rupees 2,900 crore on the Polavaram project so far, which the central government has to reimburse. Indian Oil Corporation has signed a MOU with the Central TB Division under the Union Health Ministry and the states of Uttar Pradesh and Chhattisgarh to undertake intensified tuberculosis elimination project as part of its CSR activities. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia and Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas Hardeep Singh Puri attended the MOU signing event. India reported 188 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours, showed government data on Wednesday morning. No new death was reported and the total death count from the pandemic stood at 5,30,696. There are 3,468 active cases in the country. Authorities are currently on alert due to rise in cases in China and elsewhere. A special court in Mumbai on Wednesday extended till December 29th the CBI custody of former ICICI Bank CEO and MD Chanda Kochar, her husband Deepak Kochar, and Videocon Group founder Venugopal Dhoot in connection with a loan fraud case. Central Bureau of Investigation arrested the Kochars last Friday after questioning them briefly. Dhoot was arrested on Monday. Time now for a short break in the bulletin. Stay tuned for international news on the other side.
The glorious journey of India's 75 years of independence, protection of rights, ensuring equality, to empower, to deliver justice. Laws that have defined India and its people. Laws that everyone should know. Watch 75 years. Laws that shaped India. With me, Hemant Batra, only on Sansad TV.
We will discuss the landmark outcomes of the United Nations Biodiversity Conference, COP15. How significant was COP15 compared to earlier COPs?
We have a 10-year framework now, which is popularly called as the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. The world community recognized the importance of financing, particularly the resource mobilization.
Good progress has been made by recognizing the need for the special fund that will be set up.
Welcome back. Let's take a look now at all the latest developments from the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday signed a decree that bans the supply of crude oil and oil products to nations that have imposed a cap on Russian crude price. The ban will come into force from 1st of February for 5 months. The G7, European Union and Australia agreed this month to a $60 per barrel price cap on Russian seaborne crude oil effective from 5th of December. Over Moscow's special military operations in Ukraine. The decree was presented as Russia's direct response to actions that are unfriendly and contradictory to international law by the United States and foreign states and international organizations joining them. Russia's foreign minister sounded a fresh warning to Ukraine on Tuesday, threatening further military action. Sergei Lavrov said Ukraine must remove any military threat to Russia. Otherwise, the Russian army will solve the issue. Lavrov reiterated that the West was feeding the war in Ukraine to weaken Russia and said that it depends on Kiev and Washington now how long the conflict will last. In an apparent reaction, Ukrainian President advisor Mykolai Podolyak tweeted that Russia needs to face the reality. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on Tuesday reaffirmed her government's support for Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky said in his nightly video message. Zelensky said that during a call with the Italian PM, he thanked Meloni for aid already received. He also affirmed that he and his Italian counterpart are acting in unison and Italian support will allow Kiev to strengthen their air defense. Meloni's office earlier said the Italian government had renewed its full support for Kiev in the political, military, economic and humanitarian fields. The Kremlin today dismissed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's 10-point peace plan. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that proposals to end the conflict in Ukraine must take into account what is calls today's realities of 4 Ukrainian regions having joined Russia. Ukrainian president has been promoting his 10-point peace plan, which he first announced in November. The plan envisions withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine's internationally recognized territory, which would mean Russia giving up both the 4 regions it calls to have annexed and Crimea, which it seized in 2014. Now news from across the globe. In a tragic incident, 3 Indian Americans, including a woman, lost their lives as they drowned while walking on a frozen lake in U.S. state of Arizona. The incident occurred on December 26 at Woods Canyon Lake in Coconino County, Arizona. The deceased men have been identified as 49-year-old Narayana Mudana and 47-year-old Gokul Medisetti. The female victim has been identified as Haritha Mudana. The 3 victims, originally from India, resided in Chandler, Arizona. An official statement said that deputies stationed at a substation in the area were called to the lake after 2 men and a woman were walking on the frozen lake and fell through the ice. More than 1 million Americans and Canadians are battling a massive winter storm that continues to pummel North America. And in our world wrap, amid a steep rise in COVID-19 cases, China said that it will resume issuing passports for tourism. The National Immigration Administration of China said it will start taking applications from 8th of January. The agency said it will take applications to extend, renew or reissue visas, but gave no indication when the might be issued to first-time applicants. China stopped issuing visas to foreigners and passports to its own people at the start of COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020. The agency also said that China will gradually resume admitting foreign visitors. China's foreign ministry criticized Taiwan for seeking to use the Taiwanese people as cannon fodder by extending compulsory military service from 4 months to 1 year. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said that struggling for the great task of achieving national reunification is immeasurably significant than dying for Taiwan independence. Separatist activities is completely worthless. The Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen announced the extension to compulsory military service on Tuesday, citing the rising threat from China. Benjamin Netanyahu's incoming government has put West Bank settlement expansion at the top of its list of priorities. The move comes a day before it's set to be sworn into office. Netanyahu's Likud party released the new government's policy guidelines on Wednesday. The first of its was that it will advance and develop settlement in all parts of land of Israel in the Galilee, Negev, Golan Heights and Judea and Samaria, the biblical names for the West Bank. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un presented unspecified goals to further bolster his military power next year at a meeting of top officials, according to the official Korean Central News Agency. The statement came during the Tuesday session at the ongoing plenary meeting of the ruling Workers' Party. Kim analyzed his new security challenges and clarified principles and directions to take in external relations and fights against enemies to protect national interests and sovereignty. Kim also set forth new key roles for bolstering the self-reliant defense capability to be pushed ahead in 2023. Russia and China completed naval drills in the East China Sea today after a week of joint exercises. The exercise include a drill on capturing enemy submarines with depth changes, as well as firing artillery at warships. Chinese state media CCTV showed the naval exercises entitled Maritime Interaction 2022 included Russia's Pacific Fleet and were carried out in waters of Zhongshan and Taizhou in China's Zhejiang province. Let's take now a look at all the developments from the world of sports. India ready to bid for 2036 Olympics, says Sports Minister Anurag Thakur, stresses Gujarat has infrastructure to host the games. Hardik Pandya to lead India in T20I series against Sri Lanka. Rohit returns for ODIs. Pant not in either squad. Kohli not part of the T20Is, while Dhawan does not find a place in the ODI squad against Sri Lanka. Australia declare first innings at 575 for 8. Keeper Carey scores 100. South Africa lose captain Elgar for naught in second innings. Trail Kangaroos by 371 at the end of day 3. Tom Latham and Kane Williamson score centuries as New Zealand take first innings lead against Pakistan in Karachi Test. Kiwis end day 3 at 440 for 6, lead by 2 runs. Williamson not out on 105. Kumar Yadav scores a superb 95 to rescue Mumbai in elite group Ranji match against Saurashtra, misses a well-deserving 100 by 5 runs. That's a wrap on the day's bulletin. Keep watching Sansad TV for all the latest news and updates. Good night.